Ha ha! Ha ha! That's right, it's not Sunday, it's Saturday night, and I was feeling funnier, I guess. So I decided to do Saturday Night Live. Hey, there's somebody out there. Somebody else is at 7 people are watching. Wow! You guys are fast. How'd you guys do that so fast? That was amazing. Freaking amazing. Mario Ortega. Hey man, what's up? Ortega, do you own that company that makes like corn tortillas and stuff? And hot sauce? Stuff like that. Anyways, okay. I was lonely and hey Ryan, Mario doesn't own the Ortega company. Okay, so I was lonely and I was feeling like I needed to talk to somebody and I wanted to bitch about something. Not really bitch, but like exclaim my opinion as usual about the new GMO salmon. You remember me, been subscribed for years. Sure, Drew. Sure, Drew. Have you ever seen the Uncle Drew videos where they take some dude and they make him look like an old man and they call him Uncle Drew? And he's like a really great basketball player and he kicks everybody's ass and everybody thought he was an old man. Have you seen that, Drew? Uncle Drew. Anyway, well, thanks everybody that's been subscribed for years. Thanks. So, okay, GMO salmon. So the guy comes on and it reminds me of that phrase reminds me of that song. Man comes on and tells me what I'm supposed to do. What is that song? I can't remember. Anyways, so the guy comes on and he says he's the advocate for GMO salmon, and he says, well, and also they showed another video how the salmon grows twice as fast. And also they can make it so that the salmon wants to breed all year long and not just once a year. They want to breed all year, and so the freaking salmon, because they injected the genetics from another fish that breeds all the time into the salmon that only wants to breed once a year. So now the salmon wants to breed all year like the other fish. Okay, so they think that that's okay to do that, to change creations, gods, whatever you want to believe in. They think it's okay to change the natural way that salmon breed, Atlantic salmon. Okay, so and also they've done something to make it grow twice as fast. And there, as usual, their mindset is that what they say their mindset is that we want to be able to produce food for the world. Okay? So anybody that's a naturalist, anyone that understands nature, anyone that has decent intuition, knows that there's no way that you can break the rules. You can't fuck with nature. You cannot break the rules like that. And if you do, there are consequences to be had. Now, you can do certain things to increase food production, but you can't screw with genetics. You can't change genetics. And when you do produce food, it has to be of a decent quality. And you just can't do certain things to be able to continue to increase food production to save the world. What needs to happen is the population of humans on the earth needs to radically be decreased, be radically reduced. Not, oh, we're trying to screw the world up more so that we can save everyone. That's not what's going to happen. Look at what nature is doing. If you look at what nature is doing, nature is making it so that the strong survive and the weak die. And it's turning the volume up on that theory that was created by Darwin a long time ago. It's turning up the volume on that because it's making it hotter, it's making it wetter, it's making it drier, it's making more fires, it's making more floods, more tornadoes. It's going to continue to do that. And and it's really, really smart of anyone that knows how this is working, that can see how it's going. It's really, really smart to do as the Boy Scout motto says, be prepared. Okay? So, all of this stuff that people are doing to increase their profit margin, to make more and more and more money. See, that's the real reason that they're doing it. They're not doing it so that they can feed the world. They're doing it so that they can make money. And it's going to backfire because those people, that anyone that does something that's underhanded and greedy, etc., the truth eventually rises to the surface. We all know this, don't we? If you don't know this by now, then you should. I mean, if you're watching my channel, you should know. The freaking truth eventually comes to the surface. And if somebody is doing something that, like killing rhinos or killing some animal, like just for a trophy to bring back to the US to hang on their rich ass wall, if they're doing something like that, do you think that everyone is going to let them get away with it? They're not going to be able to bring people over to their house to show them anything. I mean, if they do, it's going to get out. All kinds of things that, like, nothing can be hidden anymore with the internet. And when people, like, if it gets really bad, if the economy and things get really bad, and there are rich ass people driving really expensive cars down the road, you know what's going to happen to them. All people have to do is pick up big rocks and throw them at their freaking cars. I mean, they won't be able to go out. There's no way that they'll be able to go out in safety. And so, I mean, people that are living moderate lifestyles, and you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. And nobody wants to, like people that are living natural and kind to the earth and righteous lifestyles in Iran or in North Korea or in the United States. None of those people want to kill each other. None of those people want to put sanctions on each other. None of those people want to do anything bad to each other. The Amish people don't have a problem with anybody in the world. People that are just living, growing food, and they're happy, and they're whatever they're doing, they're playing games at night, board games, whatever they're doing. Those people, they're not trying to get more than their slice of the pie. They're just living their own little lives, and they don't have any troubles with anybody else. And that's the way it needs to be. The problems that you get in this world are from people that are constantly wanting more and more and more. And they can't just be happy with fun things. They've got to have a big yacht, or they've got to have giant buildings like Donald freaking Trump. So, anyways, there are people that don't have natural spirituality, and those are people from Monsanto. Those are the people that are trying to create genetically modified this and that so that they can kill off. I was recently traveling, and I was down in South Carolina, and I had not seen dead fields like that since I lived in Brevard. And it's just like, you know that something has happened there. And and you see how some of the communities there are not doing so well. I guarantee you that anyone that's drinking the water there is drinking the muck from, what is it called? Can't remember the chemical in Roundup. But those people are all drinking it in a lot higher concentrations than anybody around here where I live. Elevation is key. Key, baby. The higher in elevation that you can get, the farther away from bad water and bad air you can get, especially bad water. So I was like really glad to get back here. Did y'all see those videos that I made? There were places in South Carolina where you drove through and you were just like, this is not good. There was like something, it was just like the energy was dead. And some of those towns that just got wiped out by Walmart, you drive down and 90% of the commercial buildings in the downtown areas of those little towns were completely empty. It was just like that house that I showed you in that video, just dead. And the end of times, what does that mean, Johnny? What does that mean, the end of times? You should know that regardless of any of this stuff that's going on here, if you think about the endless solar systems and planets in the universe, then you know that we're not at the end of times. I mean, there's got to be a way for our spirits to just transmute to a different place, a different planet, you know? And you have to kind of have some compassion with people. Thanks, Mario. You have to have some compassion with people because most of you understand that if you weren't taught some whatever it is, if you weren't taught something, how to do dishes, or if you weren't taught how to read, then you don't know how to read. And a lot of people in the world weren't taught any respect, or maybe they've just never seen it for some reason. Maybe it's just okay for people in Nicaragua to throw trash everywhere, which is exactly what they do there. And in the Asian countries, unlike the Hispanic countries down south, where a lot of people down there, not everyone, but a lot of people will just steal you blind. They'll steal anything from you. That's kind of the norm in Nicaragua or Guatemala or Costa Rica even. A lot of people just steal from other people. But in the Asian countries, that's not very prevalent. They don't do that much there. But they throw garbage. I was watching a video from Durian Rider. Some of you may know him. But Durian Rider was showing this guy, filming this guy in Thailand, just throwing garbage into the water, into a beautiful bay, just dumping all of his garbage in there. and so I guess a lot of people haven't learned that there. So there's pros and cons with people everywhere, and you just kind of have to do your best to live with it, I guess. But don't think that this is the end. These are the end of times. I've managed to find a fairly safe place to live here for now. And you can bet that people can learn really fast. Like a lot of things can be detrimental with high-speed internet, like 5G. But at the same time, they can learn really fast through the 5G. And as soon as people start dying off in mass quantities, they'll be looking at their phones and on 5G, and they'll be like, "Wow, holy shit! Maybe I better go back to a regular landline." And so they can learn really fast on their 5Gs because it's so fast, the internet speed. And And so, you know, pros and cons, pros and cons. And, you know, there was a lot of things that I did when I was a lot younger that was really bad for my health, you know? So I had to learn. Some of us learn faster than others. Some of us have better intuition than others. It's really important to know that some people don't have very good intuition and might not ever get very good intuition very quickly. And it's it's really important to know who to hang out with and who not to hang out with, where to live and where not to live, what kind of places to go to, and what kind of places to stay clear the fuck away from, like bars, for instance. So I can still kind of, like the other day, go into a bar for 5 minutes, but shortly thereafter, I got out. And I just heard some really good music. And sometimes it's cool to make exceptions to rules. And so, but for the most part, you really want to stay away from certain things, like places where people are drinking fucking alcohol, you know? And I don't know. I think it's just a really good time in our world to be very discretionary, very discretionary. If you want to be healthy and be happy, don't just do a job that you're going to be exposed to some crap. Y'all want to see I'm changing the subject. Do y'all want to see a really cool thing that I'm making right now that might be something I'm going to sell on my website soon? Okay. They're not done yet. They're not done yet, but these are all natural shoes. So tomorrow I'll start putting the straps on the top of them that are connected to these. And okay, so they're made out of leather, obviously, real leather. And they've got my orthotics built into them. But now they've got 2 layers, 2/4-inch thick layers of wool felt, pure sheep's wool felt, sewn onto the bottom, and then about a third or maybe a half of one of these 32-ounce liquid latex resin, liquid latex in there. It's got a lot of liquid latex poured into these. Okay. And so the wool is like rebar that binds it all together. And then the latex gives it the rubber. So it's like natural souls, a natural soul. And then on the top, I did decor. I did white and black stripes because I have 2 colors. And the first pair that I made is already failing because I didn't sew the wool onto the bottom. But this pair, I really sewed the wool on really good all the way around, as you can see. Double sewed the wool. And so I don't think that part right there where it gets strained, you know how that's the part where it gets strained? I don't think that can pull up. And so another thing that's on the agenda is probably to get going with growing my own chickens. And I got to get the garden going here. Nope, no plastic, Joe. No petroleum other than the zipper. The zipper is nylon. But then I have some more ideas on how I can make those shoes groundable. Okay, so you can make them groundable too. And that's something that I've known about for a long time. I just didn't know how to make the sole. And I'm probably going to learn how to make those and then teach y'all how to make them with the same ingredients. All you'll need is a sewing machine, but like without the orthotic part, because that part is harder to do. But maybe not even the leather. You probably don't even need the leather. All you need really is the rubber. I don't know. There's probably a way to do it without the leather and without the zippered part, of course, but just the wool felt and the rubber. And then something for the straps. Something also for the straps, and that could possibly be done, they could be vegan if you wanted. That might be able to be done with canvas or something. So I wish that more of you had Gmail accounts so that you could say something on the chat. One guy told me the other day that he didn't want to start a Gmail account because he thought it was invading his privacy, and that's the reason why he doesn't make comments on YouTube, because you have to have a Gmail account, a Gmail account to be able to start a YouTube channel, to be able to make comments. It's kind of one of their little perks, but you don't have to have one to be able to watch videos. You just have to have one to be able to comment. All you have to do is go and start a Gmail account, and then you can start a YouTube account. And then you can make me a donation like Mario. Thanks so much, Mario. Mario is very generous, and I really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Also, business has been kind of slow, but I've been figuring out sort of like other ways to be able to get it going. And, I'm really, for the last several years, I've really been learning to take one day at a time. Really trying to focus on that. I mean, not just one day at a time, but sometimes just the moment really at a time. And I'll notice sometimes, especially like when the moon is full, that really affects me a lot. I'll start to get really emotional, and whatever sign the moon is in, that is what it gets me for. Whatever it is. Like, for instance, the full moon a few days ago was in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius really likes to travel. Anyone out there that's a Sag knows this. And Sag is the student and sometimes the teacher, the philosopher, and the something else. But it's the type of a person that really likes to travel and experience things. And Sag is kind of like Gemini. But in any case, the moon was very much in Sagittarius, and that just was screaming at me to go out and get in the car and go somewhere. And that's why you've recently seen the travel videos that I did. But the problem was that when I got to the beach, it was so freaking hot and humid. And I'm not talking about like the hot and humid that I'm used to, because I'm from the West. I grew up largely in San Diego. And in the summertime, when it's hot and it's 85 degrees, it's still okay to go down to the beach, but not in the east. Right now, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the prices for motels and everything there is dirt cheap right now. It is dirt freaking cheap there. And you know why? Because it's so effing miserable. The humidity. Say in the West, it's dry. And if it's hot, it's hot. But in the East, if it's hot and humid, it is miserable. miserable. And so I got down there and I got out of the car and I walked down to the beach and I'm like, my God, I could not hardly be out of my car. And it was like, thank God I had fixed the AC. I'd have been dead. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt be believed in the heart that, oh my God. Well, there you can see how long it took. That is right, Johnny. I've had to oust, you would not believe, I've had to oust several Bible thumpers in the last few days, several of them. And I'm telling you, if you want to get on my bad side, just try and shove your fucking religion down my throat. You will be gone so fast. So, yeah, farmed salmon. So the thing is that there are so many, too many people on this planet. And those of you that have good intuition know to stay away from genetically modified foods. I mean, I religiously, I religiously stay away from them. And I know which ones can be GMO. And hopefully the labels are correct and they're telling me the truth on the soy products that I buy, like the tempeh that I have. You always want to look to make sure that soy is not GMO. Or if you eat corn, it's not GMO. Or whatever, things that are GMO. Papaya, believe it or not. So many things are genetically modified so that people can live their speed lives and they don't have to take care of the plants right, or they can grow them twice as big, or for whatever reason, they want to have a fast, quick fix, money making thing. And they're going to do things, they're going to cut corners in any freaking way that they can. And you're going to see that only the very strong can survive. And I'm talking about people that can figure out how to live their lives really simply. This is what I'm doing here. I'm trying to live really, really simply, minimize my expenses as much as I can, live as smartly as I can, and just so many different things. But at the same time, I'm realizing that I can't do it alone. I'm trying to do it alone because I don't like people that much. You all know this, right? I don't really like people that much, and I like to live alone. I like to be single. I'd like to get some sex sometimes. But, you know. Anyways, um, so I'm trying to figure out this lifestyle and live this life where I'm able to get the best of all worlds. You know what I'm saying? To get the best of all worlds. And it's not easy because there's only so much time in the day. There's only so much money coming in. There's a lot more competition on YouTube. That's kind of the thing. And the algorithms keep changing. And unless you're getting a lot of views on your videos because you're showing titties or ass or whatever, unless you're getting a lot of views on your videos, then it's making it more difficult all the time. I am figuring some things out though. I bought Grammarly the other day. I spent $90 that I don't have on Grammarly, which is an app that goes onto your computer. It goes onto Chrome. It works with Windows. and it helps you to be able to write things in a better manner that help you to rank better. And when I say rank better, I'm talking about like somebody puts leather orthotics into a search on Google and Brett's Natural Health comes up at the top. Or somebody puts millet pillows, millet whole pillows, whatever, into a search on Google and Brett's Natural Health comes up at the top. This is called search engine optimization. Okay, and so you got to be able to pull off everything. The more you know about how to write your pages, and the better the pages are written, and so many different things, the higher you're going to rank. And I really don't want to sell on Amazon, but I'm tempted. But man, I'll tell you, the thing is that y'all should know is that I don't make much money on my products. I'll make $20 to $40 an hour depending on what I'm working on. But generally about 30 bucks an hour after the expenses. So it's not bad, but I don't make that much money. And my products are just like from the heart. And everything that I make and sell is just because I made it for me first. And I was like, okay, this is an awesome product and I want other people to have this. And I don't mind working my ass off to make these products and sell them to people. I even work my ass off when I ship them to people. And the shipping. I even use only paper tape and everything is packed perfectly. You should see when I pack a foot friend massage tool, I take it and I make the box and then I poke holes in the cardboard flaps in the bottom so that I can use jute twine. Now check this out. When I ship a foot friend, I don't ship it like by packing it full of newspaper or those little peanuts or some plastic thing, you know, so that it won't move around in the box. I don't do that but it has to be able to be secured in the box somehow. And so how am I going to do that? Well, the easiest way was to use this jute twine. About a roll of like 2,500 feet of this jute twine a long time ago from Ace Hardware. It's totally natural. It's from South America, I'm sure. As you can see, it's made of jute, so it's totally biodegradable. It's a plant, you know? So I take this and I push it through the little holes in the flaps in the bottom that I cut, and then I wrap it around and I've got a perfect way to secure the foot friend in the box. And so, like, I'm trying to live this life that's like as righteous as possible. But I really want to live this life that's like funny too. Because I have this, you have to have a sense of humor in this life. And I really want to make a video entitled, "Did you fart?" But the problem is that I'm having a difficult time finding somebody to shoot the videos for me because I can't afford to pay anyone anything. And so I've got to find just somebody that has a funny bone that's willing to go and help me make prank videos. And that's the thing. Who has time? So here's the new idea. Here's the new idea. Who has time, who actually has time to go out and shoot prank videos? I'll tell you. People that are homeless. Homeless people. And so today I went into Asheville because I needed to buy some more leather, and there was a few other things that I needed to buy. But the plan was to go into Asheville and see if I could find a few homeless people that were maybe young people that were homeless, that I could throw them a few bucks here and there. You know, I can't afford very much though. But in any case, the plan was to go and find a few people that maybe they have a cell phone. Maybe they have a way for me to contact them. Maybe they're staying at a shelter. They got not a lot to do. And maybe they could help me to shoot some prank videos. because everybody else has to work. Everybody else has to do something, and they don't really want to help me with my new comedy channel. So that's been the problem, finding somebody that could actually help me with my comedy channel to shoot. But I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Mark my words. Why are you reluctant to sell on Amazon? Well, a lot of different things. Amazon is a mass marketplace, and people don't understand the value of my products, specifically, like for instance, versus Chinese products. I'll show you something right now. Okay. So I've been doing massage for a long time, right? And most of you know that I sell this little tool called the Soother Massage Tool. And when I was in practice, and I still am occasionally doing massage, but when I was doing massage pretty much every day, every week, I loved using this massage tool. I was not the one that was making it. Some woman in California was having some Chinese company make them for her, and she would buy them cheap and then sell them. They weren't making them very good, though. They were not making them very quality-wise like I make them now. But a friend of mine, PJ, the guy that makes the Lana rollers in Thailand, he sent me some of these tools that are made in Thailand. See these? They come in a set of like 6 of them. These are the only 3 of the 6 that I think are worth a crap. And these, I don't use near as much as this. All 6 of these tools sell on Amazon for like $10. Okay, they're mass produced, and they're not bad tools, but they're just not near as good as that tool right there. But the thing is that who knows that? A lot of people have good intuition and see how good that fits. You see that? See how good that fits in your hand? That's why this tool is so rocking good. This tool, you hold it like that, it's not bad. It's not bad. And it's pointier, which can work for some things. But last night I was massaging my feet and I was playing around. Hey, thanks, Joe. Thanks, man. You are awesome. I'm not sure how much 100 whatever it is. Is it pesos or what? But thanks, Joe. But anyways, this tool, I was like, okay, let's try this one. Let's try that knob. Let's try that. Let's try that Sharpie right there. And let's see how they work. And for what I was doing last night, none of these compared to using this. It's just not near as good. I've sold a lot of those though. And the reason that I've sold a lot of those is because people have seen my videos. That's what sells this. When people can see me using that tool, then they can be like, yeah, that looks like that would work really good. See, when you visualize, It's so important to be able to visualize things in this world, to pretend too. Also, that word right there. Remember how when you were a kid and you learned what pretend means? I have news for you. Now that you're an adult, it's really important to start pretending things in your mind. It's really important to start pretending, because you know what that is? That's like hypnotherapy. When you can imagine, pretend and imagine, those are important words. And those also go for spirituality, because you see, at the end of this life, where whatever you have achieved as your mentality, whatever you have achieved as what the chemicals are that your brain is creating in your body, whatever you have achieved as a belief system, whatever you have achieved as an understanding for the way the universe works, and I'm talking beyond what past people have written in books, old time people, some of them had some intuition. I'll tell you right now that you have the ability in this day and age right now to have a stronger spirituality than any of those people that wrote things in the Bible. You have a potential ability to have intuition beyond all of them, because we are at a further progression than them. Now, not everyone is going to be able to. Some people are going to be total freaking Neanderthals, and some people from the past were very, very advanced. But you have the potential to have an incredibly strong spirituality. And with all the things, okay, so we have a lot of things that are available to us now through technology. See, technology can be an incredibly good thing. This computer that I'm talking to you on right now, it's grounded. If you use your head and you ground things like that, see that green wire connected to that copper wire sticking into the side of the computer? That is reducing the EMF that this computer puts out by 80%. And if I keep my feet, ugh, if I keep my feet away from that, see that? If I get my feet too close to that, guess what I get? A lot of EMF. How do I know? I've tested it. I've tested it with a multimeter, wherever that is. I've tested it with a tri-field meter too. And so the technology can be awesome. But when you abuse things by putting transmitters, 5G transmitters that are increasing the speed, so I don't need anything, any Wi-Fi in this house. I don't need any Wi-Fi in this house. It's all running through wires. Good old wires, hard wires. So why do I have to make it like more convenient by having everything wireless? I don't. I just run it through wires. Could I please get a short shout out for my friend Bryden, please, Brett? She can't make it to the live stream tonight. Hey, Bryden! It's Luke! Here in the mountains in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I cannot keep my eyes open, dude. Wish I could. I love your streams. Good night, man. Okay, Mr. Kayaker. Someday you got to tell me what your real name is. I met a kayaker today. Luke, could I tell you a Duke the dog story? Okay. I know it's not the same. It's Duke, but it's not Luke, it's Duke. But I'll tell you a Duke the dog story. This is a lot less serious than all that other stuff. So, once there was this guy and he wanted to ask this girl, "Hey, cool villagers," from India. Okay, so it was this guy that he wanted to ask this girl out really, really bad. And he was kind of shy, you know, so he held back and he held back for a long time. But finally, he got the nerve and he asked her, and she said yes, to his amazement. Hey, Barbara, thank you. $9.99. Wow. Why $9.99, Barb? Anyway, so this guy, she said yes, that she would go out with this guy. And he was a bit amazed because he'd not had such good luck with girls before. But anyways, they went out to a movie, they went out to dinner, and they had an okay time. And he drove her back to her parents' house. I guess she was living still with her parents for some reason. And pulled up to the house, and she said, "Well, can you come in and meet my parents?" And he had to fart really bad, you know. He was like, "Oh no, I better not. I better not go in right now. I'm kind of shy," or something like that. He made up an excuse. And she looked at him and she said, "Well, you know, if you don't come in and meet my parents, then they won't let me go out with you anymore." And so he's like, "Oh, okay." And so they go in and he sits down on the couch and he's talking to her father, and the family dog is laying there on the floor. And his name is Duke. And the guy is sitting there and he's got this big fart. Have you guys seen my farting videos, like how to release gas? Yeah, Duke. That's right. The dog's name is Duke. Anyway, so the guy is like, "Man, I've got to just let some of this out. I've got to just let some of this out because I'm going to blow. I'm going to blow up." So he goes ahead and farts a little bit. And the father looks over at him and he says, "Duke!" And the guy's like, "What? What's he doing? He thinks the dog's doing it?" And so he goes ahead and farts a little bit more. And the father goes, "Duke!" And he's like, "This is funny. He thinks the dog is doing it." So he goes ahead and just farts it all out. And the guy goes, "Duke, get away from him before he shits on you." Did you like that one? Did anyone like that one? Get away from him before he shits on you. So anyways, looks like I lost a few viewers, but I just gained one back. I'm glad you liked that one, Joe. I'm glad you liked that one. Joe, did you see the new shoes coming on, man? See the new shoes? I'm telling you. Those are going to be cool. How much do you guys think that you'd be willing to pay for a pair of those all natural? How much would you really be willing to pay for a pair of all natural handmade shoes? Oh, there's another thing that I forgot to tell you about these. Okay, so you know how when a pair of regular petroleum shoes like these, you know how when these wear out, that's pretty much it. The soles have worn out and you throw them away. Oh, that's not how it works with the new Brett shoes. I am pretty sure that I'll be able to take a scrub brush and some soap and water and clean the bottom of this after it's worn down some. And I think that these are going to be really durable. We'll see though. But after it has worn off, I think that I can basically just take some more wool felt and latex it on there and put another layer on there. And who knows how many more soles I can just keep putting on over and over and over again. Let me show you what that felt looks like. I have a big roll of this. See that? Wool felt. And I bought it for a different project, a completely different project a long time ago, about 3 years ago. But I've known that I'd be able to do something with that felt. And I've tried it, used it for some different projects. But is that not cool? And check this out. You know what the thing is? The deal with this petroleum rubber, you have to have the tread. You have to have tread to be able to have a grip, because see, that is not sticky. That is slick. This, it's like sticky. I don't think I'm gonna have to have any tread for it at all. And like, look at the contour or the texture of it. Can you see that? Is that cool or what? I don't think I'm gonna have to have any tread on these. It feels like it's gonna be really sticky as it is. So, oh, and check it out. You can buy that liquid latex in a lot of different colors. So the plan is to figure out not only just how I can sell these for myself for profit and for, you know, another product on my site, but also how I can make a simplified version that y'all can make at home with just, you'll probably need a sewing machine maybe, but all you'll need is some of this wool felt, and you cut a pattern from your own foot. You make it a little bit wider, especially in the front and in the back. And then you just start painting, and you'll have to figure out how to make straps. I'll probably figure out that out for you and make a video entitled How to Make Your Own Shoes. And also there's a way to ground them too. Want me to give you the sneak peek on that? All right. Okay, so you know what you mix in with it all? Graphite. Graphite is conductive. So it wouldn't be conductive through leather. So it'd have to be a pure wool and latex mixed with graphite shoe for it to be able to be grounded. You wouldn't have to do the whole sole of the foot, although you could. But graphite looks like this. Can you see that in there? It's black. And they use it as a lubricant for metal parts. So when I was a kid, I made a Pinewood Derby car. Do any of you remember that? Pinewood Derby? And so one of the things that my dad said that would work really good to make the axle really fast so that my car might win would be to put graphite on it. So they had some kind of like a liquid graphite that you could put on various metal parts to make them really slick. But one of the features that graphite has is that it's highly conductive. Okay, it's electrically conductive. So right now, this is not, this is the shoe thing. This is not my idea. This is something that I've learned by going online, and they have some kind of a synthetic version of graphite that's actually even more conductive. I don't know, some kind of a patented thing that's even more conductive. So You can go online now, and if you work in a laboratory where you've got to be grounded all the time, they'll have grounding mats below your lab tables, and then you have to wear special shoes that are grounding, and they ground your body. And say you're working on electrical components where if you had any kind of an electrical buildup in your body and then you touched it, you know how if you touch somebody, it shocks them sometimes if you rub your feet on the carpet? If that happens and you're in a situation of where you can short out or fuck up some kind of electrical something or other, diodes, whatever they're called, then that would be no good, right? You could mess up computers. There's all kinds of things in situations where in laboratories and computer places where you have to be grounded all the time. And so people have to wear these special shoes, and you can go online and you can buy them, and they look like regular shoes. They look like regular, not sandals, but like sneakers, you know? And they're made out of that special rubber that's full of that special graphite. But I want to make natural shoes, not chemicalized shoes. I want them to be all natural, and I don't want them to have any kind of a heel. Okay? Here's the thing. There's the probably the biggest advantage, not the grounding part, but the biggest advantage to my shoes that a lot of people are starting to understand now. And if you go online, go on Google and you put flat shoes, like, or what is it? There's several companies now that are making shoes with no heel. See that? There's my shoe. It has no heel. Now, if I wanted to, I could build the heel as high as I wanted to, but I'm not going to. For some reason, okay, this is another thing in this world. That makes you go faster. Do you believe that? That right there, having a heel, that makes you go faster. It does. I swear to God. Check this out. Here's the opposite. What if you raised the front part and you made the back part smaller? So you put the heel on the front and you put made the back short. Then what would happen? It would make you go backwards. It would tilt you back. It would make it harder anyway. It wouldn't make you walk backwards unless you wanted to. But it would prompt you to be slower. Okay? That's what the world really needs. We should put heels on the front of shoes, and that would prompt people to go slower. But what this does is it prompts people to go faster. And what this does is neither. It just makes you flat. And there are other shoe companies out there that are making, like, okay, so like those ones with the toe webs, what are those called? Somebody tell me what those are called. And each one of your toes fits into one little thing. What is that called? I can't remember. Anyway, so there are companies that are making shoes where you can feel the ground, one thing, that's one thing, and where you're flat to the ground, no heel, and like barefooting. You know, barefooting has gotten to be a lot bigger of a thing for a lot more people. A lot of people are starting to understand the benefits of this. And so it's raining here in the last 4 minutes, and the live stream is frozen with a white circle twirling clockwise in the middle. Can anyone else hear me out there, or am I just talking to myself? Is it just Joe, or is it everybody? Hey, Diana, can you hear me? So anyways, my thoughts are that, and I definitely know. So another thing besides this making you go faster, wanting to make you go walk faster, run faster, whatever, it totally coincides with the world that we live in today. And I don't want to live in that speed world. I've told you this many times. So also, this makes it so that when you're walking, you're not flexing and extending as much as you would. Diana, can you hear me? You're not flexing and extending. No worries. I exited the live stream and clicked on again, hearing you. Okay, good. So you're not flexing and extending as much as you would as if you were flat-footed. Or do you see how that works? Imagine if I put a heel on the back of this shoe that was 6 inches high, and you were to walk on these shoes. How much would you be flexing and extending your foot? How much would you be flexing and extending your foot when you walk? And the answer is, the higher the heels that you're wearing, the less you're flexing and extending your ankle when you walk. Okay? And so that causes what? What does that cause? What problems does that cause? First, you girls want to have nice looking legs. You guys want to have nice looking legs. If you want to have healthy looking legs, especially your calves, you want to be flexing and extending as much as possible. What do calves look like that haven't been flexing and extending very much because they're just walking like this all the time? They're just walking on high heels, and they're only flexing and extending a little bit because they're trying to walk around on heels. Okay, so what they look like is the soleuses, the bottom part of the below the gastrocnemius doesn't get developed very much because it's not getting full flexion and extension. That's what happens. And then also they get restricted. So then the person takes off those shoes and they try and flex and extend, and they're not used to it. And so they might even injure their Achilles tendon. And so not only do you have ugly looking calves, ugly, unnatural looking calves, but you have the potential to injure yourself because your legs aren't used to it. So now, if you go back to this, now that's only that much of a heel. And since the front is that much, then it's only that much difference. Okay, so it's only that much difference between the front and the back. And I bought these because they don't have a lot of difference, but they still have some difference. And that difference does make a difference because when you go and you walk on, I'll show you the first ones that I made. Here's the first ones that I made. Okay, and the soles of these I actually made a long time ago. And I actually made tread on these by taking strips of felt. I put strips of felt across there, and the latex just glues them on. So I've been doing some walking in these shoes. This is the first prototype, and of course you know that I've made other natural shoes, right? So I've been doing this stuff for a while. Remember these? You remember those? Where these had like spikes like golf shoes. See those little holes? Hey, Diana. So these had little spike things, little blocks. They were like little wooden blocks screwed onto the bottom of them. And they had pretty good traction. But if you got onto a slippery surface, you were screwed. No pun intended. But check those out. Interesting, huh? They're made out of all leather, and so they're stronger than nails. But they didn't have a good sole on them. They had a leather sole on them, and leather wears out. When you rub leather on concrete or on blacktop or on rocks even, it wears it down. It's not a good surface for the sole. That's why they no longer make, like they still do make a few different shoes, like dress shoes with a leather sole, but it's not good because you have to get them resoled because they wear down so easily. So anyway, so I knew that I needed to make a leather or a rubber sole, but I just didn't know exactly how to make it. But I made it like this. I didn't know, what I didn't know is how to connect, how to get this leather sole connected to these orthotics. And since I'd already made this, pre-made this leather sole, then what I had to do was just try and glue it on to see if that would work. Look, it didn't work. See, it sort of worked, but it's coming apart already. See how that's lifting off of there already? Needed to be sewed with really thick nylon. What I used to sew these orthotics. So that's what I did with these. These are double sewn all the way around, and I doubt that that's ever going to be able to come up. If it does, it'll be because it ripped the leather. We'll see. That's the big thing. The tension places here, here, where all these straps are going to be connected. So where the straps are connected, that's where it's got to be super, super strong. It can't just be glued with nylon or with latex like these were. So with these, I started totally from scratch, and worked them up from the ground up. And now I just got to put the straps on it. It shouldn't be too difficult. And I learned a few things about that. I made the tabs wider. These tabs are wider than those. On the next pair, they're even going to be wider. They're going to be about like that instead, so that there's a lot of support. And each one of these is going to have two of those whatever those are called, those metal things. They're like, I don't know what they're called. I've got them in all different thicknesses. They're kind of like rivets, but they're like decorative rivets. But each one of those is going to have two of those instead of one. So it's going to have a lot more like this is going to not going to move near as much. It's going to have a lot more stability, so that when you go hiking or something in these, they'll be doable, I think. I'm going to keep improving these. You'll see. These are going to be ass-kicking great shoes, and you'll be able to resole them at home. Well, and all you'll need is liquid latex, a piece of felt, some felt, and one of these applicator pads. And when I put this on, I just take the liquid latex and I pour the shit. I pour it all into it. I just fill, like with lots, and I goop it on. And you put out newspaper, and you put this down, and you just completely fill the wool full of liquid latex. And then it has to dry for it's dry to the touch after like 12 hours. It's dry pretty much after 24 hours. It's cured after like 24 or after like 2 to 3 days. It's cured completely. It's the Brett's evolution of shoemaking. The evolution of shoemaking. But yeah, we're going to put graphite in them pretty soon. And then the proof will be in the pudding. Okay, the proof will be in the pudding, in the Using rain to make shoes. Laughing out loud, that's kind of smart. Using rain to make shoes? I'm not sure what you mean. But it says GMO Salmon and he's talking about shoes. Oh, well, Robert, if you'd been watching this whole thing, man, you'd see that I've been talking about all kinds of shit. I talked about the GMO salmon for a while. And I even talked about ousting somebody that decided to push his Jesus shit on me. Somebody came on and tried to lay a bunch of biblical bullshit on me here, and they got ousted from my channel from commenting. Anyway, so the proof will be in the pudding with this graphite and grounding the shoes. If I make the shoes and then I go outside and I take the electrical tester thing, it's called something meter. It's an orange meter that I have, and it's for testing AC, DC, this and that. And if I stand under power lines and I test my bod and I see that I'm grounded to the earth, then I'll know that they work. And if it doesn't work, then I'll know that it doesn't work. And another test, another problem, that potential problem that this could have is that if I mix too much of this graphite with the rubber, it might not make it, it'll definitely make it less strong. The less of this graphite, or the more of this graphite that I put into the latex rubber, the more I put in there, the less rubbery that will be, the less of a rubber action that it will be, and the more of a hard thing it will be, you know. But I'll tell you what, one of the things that's going to be really, really cool in the future is rock dust. Have you ever tumbled rocks to make them smooth? Have you ever seen a rock tumbler, you know, for like precious gems? And it tumbles the rocks to get them to where they're really smooth. I have some stones in the massage room. I don't have them here with me right now, but I have one in the car that somebody gave me. Yeah. You know, that's a big phrase right there. Religious boundaries. Okay, but I'll get back to that in a minute. So many subjects, Robert. So many subjects. Okay, so the stones, when they're tumbled, then they slough off the dust. You know, it's just like sanding wood. You get sawdust off of it. And when you're tumbling these stones in these stone tumblers, and I can't remember exactly how they work, but somebody might write it down there and mention it. But whenever you're tumbling these stones, it leaves this dust in the bottom of the tumbler. And so it's like all these different colors of rock dust from all these different kinds of stones. And so I was thinking to myself a long time ago, what if you were to go to somebody that does that and buy or get for free a bunch of that rock dust? And I know of this precious gem company in Asheville. I go to their gathering every month. It's called the Tree Huggers, the something Tree Huggers. But I'll bet that they do some tumbling there, and I'm going to see if I can get some of that dust to put in plants that you're growing. So imagine if you were to grow some kale with soil that had this rock dust in it, would the plants potentially be able to absorb some of the maybe, who knows what it might be able to do for you, but from eating plants that were grown in soil that had precious gemstone dust in it. Visualize that. Like, think of that. Who knows? But a lot of people think that precious stones, I'll show you some of them real quick. So a lot of people think that these stones have healing qualities. You know what I'm talking about. I don't even know the names of all of these, but they're all different colors. And they say that they coincide with the chakras in the body. And maybe that's true. And a lot of people will, like in massage school, I learned about, because the guy that owned the massage school that I went to was a big precious stones, gemstone person that went, he used to go to the Phoenix or the Tucson Gem Show every spring. When I lived down in Tucson, I learned about this and I checked it out. And I actually met the owner of my massage school. He came down and we hung out for the afternoon and we went to some of the gem shows and like freaking millions of dollars worth of incredible stuff at this huge, just the biggest gem show in the country, right, in Tucson, Arizona. And so he was big on that. And so he did have a class that included this healing of these stones on the body. So the green goes with the fourth chakra. The green goes with the fourth chakra. The yellow is more like I think the third chakra, the stomach chakra. The purple is like the seventh chakra. So anyways, all of these stones, they're smooth like that because they had to be smooth. They were smoothed in this tumbler, and you can buy one. Go on Amazon and put stone tumbler, and you'll see that you can buy one of those stone tumblers, and you buy them in a rough state, and then you just put them in this stone tumbler, and it smooths them over time, and you leave it on 24 hours. And you just let it keep tumbling and tumbling. But then in the bottom of the tumbler, you'll get this dust. What if you take that dust and you put that in a pot and grow a plant and then you eat it? Will it make you cosmic? Will it make you be able to have psychic abilities? Who knows? Who knows what it might be able to do for you physically from actually eating the minerals from these? But this graphite is another stone, and it's been crushed into a powder, and it's very conductive. So look at that. Look at that. That's graphite. And it's super slick. It's super slick and super conductive. But the question is, how much of it do I have to mix with the latex to be able to ground really well when you're walking? And of course, you have to be on ground, on like grass or dirt. And if it's not very wet, you're not very conductive. So it's kind of hard to ground if you're walking in dry sand, on dry dirt. It's not going to ground very good. The wetter it is, the more it grounds. The more you're going to be able to ground to the earth. But around here, we have no problem with that. It is so wet. Today, check it out. When I went to Asheville and I wanted to find somebody to help me to shoot comedy videos, I was like, as soon as I got there, it started raining. And it just started sprinkling at first. And I'm like, this is no problem. This is no problem. After about 15 minutes, it was raining hard. And then it got worse. It got harder and harder. It was raining so freaking hard. I mean, like, I couldn't even stand. I was standing with this other guy at the co-op, and we were just bullshitting about something, and we were under this little eave, whatever you call it, overhang. And we were okay in the beginning, but the wind started blowing harder, and it started raining like hard. And you could not stand there anymore without getting really wet. It was raining so hard. And within about an hour, it had rained probably a couple of inches, maybe more. It was brutal. And so that idea fell through today. I'm gonna wash my hand off. And all these natural materials like liquid latex, when I go to wash this out in the sink, it's no problem. It's totally natural. It's probably edible. You could probably eat that shit. It's totally. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. But you know what I'm saying. It's totally biodegradable. So many things in this world, and this is kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to swallow, to understand that eventually in time, and this is part of my spirituality, eventually in time, we have to get to this point of where everything that we utilize, everything that we manufacture, everything that goes underneath our sinks, everything has to be completely safe, biodegradable, um, flushable. I mean, and we have so many lessons to learn. It's not even funny. And when I started thinking about this and visualizing it, as I was talking about visualizing and pretending and the importance of all of that, there can be a danger of all of that too. Because if you start to think about this stuff for too much and too long, then you can get in trouble psychologically and emotionally. You can really it can really damn near freaking kill you to start thinking about how in how much deep shit humanity is in right now, because you see, we live in a free country and people will tout the benefits of freedom, and it's true, but we're free to do what? Any fucking thing that we want to? Are we free to fuck up this world as much as we want to? That's a big question. It's a really big question. And so it may come to a point of where a semi-communistic way, I mean, like I said, I was telling you a couple of months ago that I wanted to start my own communist green party where I was the ruler of everyone and I forced everyone to be green. Or at least more green, you know. I imposed my rules and regulations upon everyone. You have to use a cloth bag at the grocery store. There will be no more plastic bags. I am forcing everyone. And on that note, I often thought to myself, okay, so that's not possible, obviously. No one's gonna just hop on that bandwagon because that would be just too much strain for people to actually use their own bags. There's no way that everyone could just go and get a pillowcase out of their closet and take that to the grocery store and use that as their bag. That would be too much for people. So I've often thought to myself, okay, someday, someday, there's going to be it's going to get to a point in this world of where somebody from another planet is going to have to come and take over. And any of you that are good Christians might not think of that as being a potential possibility, or somebody that just doesn't have an insight as to the way this universe works. But I'll tell you that we are not the highest beings in this universe. There's no way. Human beings in this world right now are freaking Neanderthals. I mean, seriously, the things that people do in this world, you live in a very, very primitive place. Comparatively speaking. And there are places in the universe where there are people that are looking in on us somehow. They're able to look in on us because they have technology that's thousands and thousands and thousands of years beyond us. And they're able to know exactly where we are and what we're doing and what's going on here. And someday they might just say to themselves, okay, that's it. We're going to have to step in. It's time for us to step in and draw some lines, and they'll have the ability to do that in that long, and they'll come here and they will completely turn shit around in a flash. All of the stuff that you see that's going on with politicians or with pollution or with whatever it may be, nuclear waste buildups, uh, pig farms, all of it. The whole freaking thing will get cleaned up in a real fast freaking hurry. If somebody from an advanced planet, if people come here and they say, I've imagined getting some people together and making a play up and having some people helping me with a video. Okay, so visualize this. I get some people and I put their names, whatever they are, on their chests. Trump on somebody's chest, Putin on somebody else's chest, all the leaders of the world, right? And so these aliens come here and they assemble all the leaders of every country, and they do that in that long by transporting them, just like on Star Trek. And they have them all in this one big room, and they say, just like the mafia in a Star Trek episode that I watched a long time ago. They said, "Okay, we're in charge now. Now we're in charge. And you're not going to do this anymore, Mr. Trump. You're not going to do this and that and this and that anymore, Mr. Putin. And you're not going to do any of this shit here in China anymore. Everyone's going to be free, but people aren't free to do all of these other things that are fucking up this planet anymore, because pretty soon it's going to be completely extinct. And there will be no more weapons made. These aliens will come and they'll be like, okay, that's it. Everyone that's in the militaries of every country in the world will no longer be in the military tomorrow morning. That's it. And everyone that's producing weapons, if you're working for whoever, tank manufacturer, jet manufacturer, whatever, all of you people are completely out of jobs. You're completely out of a job tomorrow morning, and you'll have to do something else. And we have something for you to do. We have solar panels for you to make. We have wind turbines for you to make. And we have all these other technologies for you to start doing tomorrow to enhance the productivity and health and everything good in this world starting tomorrow. And all of you that are doing any kind of a thing like maybe they'll install chips in us or something. I'm all good for it. Anything that they can do to change the way people do business in this world, I'm good for it. If you steal, if you kill, if you own guns, you have to turn them all in tomorrow. There will be no more guns in this world. And so the aliens come here and they force their shit on everybody, and it goes back to a completely controlled world. There's freedoms, but there's no more freedom to be a loser anymore. Those are like, that would be the play that I would make. That would be the play that I would make. And see, when you have these kinds of thoughts and this kind of desires and stuff within you, then when you move on from this world, you're not going to come back to this same kind of an existence again in your next life, if that's how it works. And I believe that's definitely how it could work. I'm not coming back to a primitive life like this again. It's not gonna fucking happen. I might say the F word, but so what? At least I'm making an effort where it counts. I'm making an effort for the things that really count in this world. And I'm not saying that I'm on one side or the other, because I'm not. I'm not on anybody's freaking side. I'm in the middle. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. It's not, there are benefits to being conservative. There are benefits to being more feminine. There are benefits to being more liberal. There are benefits to being more green. But some things, it's just a joke that some people are so weak that they still have to do the same old crap. And thank God for GMO salmon. Thank God for GMO salmon. Because those people that are so weak that they won't even take their own grocery bag to the store are going to be the same people that buy the GMO salmon. And it's very likely that they're also eating other GMO foods. And that's going to make their immune systems and their bodies, whatever it is, weaker and more susceptible to death. That's how it works. If you're not smart enough to do things logically, at least more logically, if you're not willing to make an effort because your agenda is not very high of a quality of an agenda, then you get what you pay for. You get what you ask for. You get what you live for in this world. I wanted clean air, clean food, and clean water. And I knew that if I was living in a situation of where the people that were around me were imposing their shitty air, their shitty water, and their shitty food on me, and there's no way that I could get away from it, that I was going to have to change and leave and get to a place of where I could. And oftentimes I think to myself that it might get to a place of where I'm like, well, there's no way that I can progress any farther, and so creation will just take me from this place, from this world. Have any of you ever thought that? Like, you'll get to this place of where, okay, I'm ready to graduate. You remember in high school, or you remember in college, or you remember whatever, you got to the day where it was the last day and you were ready to graduate and you were ready to move on to something different. It's very possible that all kinds of people that we've seen die untimely deaths have just gotten to a place of where it's like creation said, okay, it's time for you to go. Well, it's not such a bad thing. That's another thing. It's a totally another thing that I think that people just don't have insight to. For some reason, everyone thinks that death is bad. Is death always bad? Sometimes the death of somebody that really sucks, is a wonderful thing for other people that are trying to just live a decent and righteous life on this planet. For you pro-lifers, or your anti-death penalty people, sometimes it's great that some people that have gotten themselves into a place for whatever reason, where they're just murderers or whatever they did, that those people need to be put down just like a dog. That's my thoughts. So that the rest of us don't have to pay for them to be incarcerated, and so that they're not here on this planet anymore. That's what I think. And so there are all kinds of different reasons why death might not be such a bad idea. It might be because you've achieved a level of awesomeness that you get to move on and leave this world. Or it might be because you've been such a shithead that you need to go back to a shitty world. Does anybody else get this? This isn't what Jesus wanted. Are you kidding me? Put user in time. Sorry, y'all. I ousted the wrong person. Why'd you use on this? Okay. John, you should be back. Okay. So, once again, anybody that puts religious crap on my channel, they're going to get ousted. You're not allowed to put your religious opinion bullshit on my channel, or you will get ousted. Sorry. So anyways, man, I've said a lot tonight. There's still 14 people watching. Unhidden. Good. I timed you out for 300 seconds too. Let me know that you're still here after 300 seconds. I didn't even know what that feature was, man. Huh. Anyways, so I think that to end this one for tonight, I'd like to just sing a little song. Would that be cool? I know it's all crazy shit. It's all theoretical crazy shit, right? But, you know, some of it's conceivable. Some of it's definitely conceivable. Because we really don't know. And the reason that we don't know, yes, the reason that we don't know so much is because we're just primitive humans. Some of us a lot more primitive than others. Okay. Okay. Lucky Man by The Verve. Happiness, more or less, it's just a change in me, something in my liberty. Oh, my. Happiness coming and going. I watch you look at me, I haven't sang this one for a while. I watch you look at me, watch my fever grow, and I know just where I am. But how many corners do I have to turn? How many times do I have to learn? All the love I have is in my mind. But I'm a lucky man. Whoa, with fire in my hands. Oh, happiness, something in my own place. I'm stood here naked, smiling, I feel no disgrace with who I am. Happiness coming and going. I watch you look at me, watch my fever grow, and I know just where I am. But how many corners do I have to turn? How many times do I have to learn? All the love I have is in my mind. I hope you understand. Oh, oh. I hope you understand. Oh, yeah, you know, you know, you know, you know. Happiness, more or less, it's just a change, something in my liberty. Happiness coming and going. I watch you look at me, watch my fever grow, and I know, oh my, oh my. Oh my. Oh my. I got love that never dies. Oh yeah. I got love that never dies. Oh no. Don't think I'm lying. I'm flying. Come on now. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my.